about your audition with Jay-Z. Tell me what he said to you.
A really good audition.
And what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh, yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
So then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it one more.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. Dad, I know I promised you I'm going to give you my first Grammy. I have to fight for this one.
She said you want to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She'd like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Tricky Dream for writing such a beautiful record. Thank you.
I want you to think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
In the beginning of my career, I remember Pun the Replay started doing really well, and he came up to me at a showcase and he said, "You must be a really great person because great things keep happening for you. Don't ever change who you are. Always remain humble, the same," and it kind of rings in my ear. Like every day I hear that, and it stuck with me, and I have a lot to be grateful for.
Let's talk about Rihanna. And I don't sign songs, I sign artists.
I'd like to
Jaguar Wright is back, and this time she's coming for the music industry's biggest names. From Rihanna to Jay-Z, she's spilling claims that could shake the entire entertainment world. She's connecting dots between power, fame, and control. And if even half of what she's saying is true, it's darker than anyone ever imagined. Stay tuned until the end, because what she reveals might just change everything you thought you knew about the industry.
Most people that watch your interviews as of late, the main question that comes up is, how does she know? Was she there? I'm gonna name some names, and I wanna know, were you around them? I would like to start what everybody knows is Jay-Z. Was it only
NDAs
Unplugged?
in my life. Both of them were with Mr. Carter.
Signed it at night. We didn't let her leave the office.
Really?
The 3 in the morning was when that contract got signed. So from the meeting around 3, 4 in the afternoon, we signed it by 3 in the morning.
Wow.
That day, I was absolutely certain.
How often does that happen? I mean, that's
Not often.
That's unheard of, right?
the most. Nobody felt who I felt.
I feel like I'm not ever trying to put my hands on anything.
He made that mistake because he needed help. Who's going to help him?
Let's talk about Rihanna. And I don't sign songs, I sign artists.
I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She'd like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Anything to dancing, you would have never been anything more than a shampoo girl in your mother's shop. And as long as she gets to be the prettiest, and as long as she gets to be the number one, she don't care what nobody do, how they do it. She knew what her father meant.
For 15 years, we all believed the same story. Rihanna, the sweet island girl with the golden voice. Jay-Z, the powerful mentor guiding her rise. And Chris Brown, the monster who ruined everything. That's the version we were fed. The one that sold records and magazine covers. But Jaguar says we've had it all wrong. She claims the real victim wasn't who we thought, and the real puppet master has been hiding in plain sight, pulling strings while building an empire of lies. According to Jaguar, the evidence she's seen paints a completely different picture. One where Rihanna wasn't just a bystander. She was part of the game, And to really understand it, you've got to go back to where it all started. Not the fairy tale version the media sold us, but the real story behind closed doors. Picture this: a 15 or 16-year-old girl flown in from Barbados, alone in Manhattan. It's the middle of the night. No family, no guardian, just a teenager in a skyscraper with a man powerful enough to change or control her entire life. That's where it began. Rihanna herself once described that night like it was just another audition. But if you listen closely, you can hear the fear between the lines, the nerves, the pressure. The way she talked about feeling trapped in that room. She didn't walk into fame, she was cornered into a deal. Years later, Jay-Z even bragged about it, saying he didn't let her leave until she signed. Think about that. A grown man admitting he refused to let a teenage girl go home until she put her name on that contract. That's not mentorship. That's manipulation disguised as opportunity. And what followed wasn't joy or celebration. It was trauma. Rihanna reportedly couldn't sleep for 3 nights after that meeting, not from excitement, but from fear and shock. A body reacting to something the mind couldn't process. That's not the story of a young artist making it big. That's a trauma response. But Jaguar says it goes even deeper. She claims Rihanna wasn't 16, she was just 15 when all this happened. A child left alone in a corporate tower with a man who had been planning the encounter for hours. And the worst part? The music industry looked away. No one stopped it, no one spoke up, because according to Jaguar, that contract was just the beginning, the first step in something much darker.
Most people that watch your interviews as of late, the main question that comes up is, how does she know? Was she there? I'm going to name some names, and I want to know, were you around them? I would like to start what everybody knows is Jay-Z. Was it only
NDAs
unplugged?
in my life. Both of them were with Mr. Carter. Ask me what you want to know, and I'll answer what I can. We believe in the same power. We don't believe in appropriating it the same way.
I'm going to flip it on him. Do you feel he found joy in the business or pleasure part of that?
He is the most shameful thing I've ever done. There is nothing that I experienced with that person that has not inspired shame except for Unplugged. I hate the fact that we did it all for a culture vulture.
Then came Rihanna's own words from an old interview, the one that sounded innocent at first, but now hits completely differently. She talked about her first meeting with Jay-Z, saying she was so nervous she could barely stop shaking. She remembered walking into that office, describing how it felt warm and welcoming, like a dream moment for a young artist. She said she sang Pon de Replay and another ballad called Last Time, giving it everything she had. But then came the part that made everyone pause. Jay-Z, according to Rihanna, told her they didn't sing songs there, they sign artists.
Let's talk about Rihanna. And I don't sign songs, I sign artists.
I'd like to.
She said she felt relieved when he said they were interested. But then he added something that sent chills down people's spines years later. He told her there were only 2 ways to leave the room: through the door with a signed deal or through the window. And remember, they were on the 29th floor.
Tell me about your audition with Jay-Z. Tell me what he said to you.
A really good audition.
And what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
So then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal signed or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
That was the moment, Jaguar says, when everything changed. From that day forward, Rihanna's life was no longer her own. She was thrown into adult parties and industry scenes before she was even old enough to drive. The people who should have protected her became the very ones enabling her. And anyone who tried to speak up about what was happening, well, they just disappeared like they'd never existed. Even that huge Grammy night that everyone called her moment of triumph wasn't what it seemed. Jay-Z was right there, watching every move, making sure every second went exactly as planned. And when you look at it that way, it makes you wonder, was he really her mentor or her handler, making sure the assets stayed on script? Because this wasn't a Cinderella story. It was a blueprint, a methodical, glamorous version of control disguised as opportunity.
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy. I have to fight for this one.
She said you want to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record. Thank you.
And here's where Jaguar drops another jaw-dropping claim. Rihanna eventually learned those tactics herself. She soaked them in like survival skills, because in that world, that's how you stay alive. But Jaguar says this pattern didn't start with Rihanna. She said she was just one piece of a much bigger system, a cycle that's been repeating for decades in the music industry. And according to her, there's one person who knows that pattern better than anyone, the woman sharing Jay-Z's bed.
I want you to think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened. Now I want you to think about 106th and Park with Mary J. Blige. Free, who is a victim of Sean Carter.
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige, who is a victim of Sean Combs, are sitting there talking about the of Aaliyah amongst each other. Think about that. You got a Diddy victim, you got a Jay-Z victim, and you got a superstar gone.
Yes, Beyonce. Jaguar claimed that Beyonce has known about it all for years. She's seen everything, the young girls, the manipulation, the control, and chose silence. Not because she was scared, but because Jaguar says protecting the empire meant more than her protecting those victims. The feminist icon, the queen of women's empowerment, Jaguar called her a silent witness.
Okay.
A girl went to court and charged her with extreme witchcraft. She was hypnotized. She was. Beyonce came and she was in there eating on her and shit while she was asleep. You know, snacking on his big people cats. And guess what? They wouldn't give her the restraining order. They just told her to stay away from Beyonce and work for somebody else. Guess what? She's having a hard time finding work too.
And I'm going to say this about you now, baby. Everybody who knows you are dumb as a sack of hair. Truth is, if it wasn't for your singing and your dancing, you would have never been anything more than a shampoo girl in your mother's shop. And as long as she gets to be the prettiest, and as long as she gets to be the number one, she don't care what nobody do, how they do it. She knew what her father, Matthew Knowles, was doing with all of those other girls in Destiny's Child. She's a whole space cadet.
Then she mapped out the timeline, a timeline of horror that stretched back decades. Jaguar said this didn't begin with Rihanna. It started long before that. Beyonce at 15, Aaliyah at 16, then Rihanna at 15. Same story, same tactics, different girls.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies, those trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
Wow.
this guy,
You're gonna let him say that?
Jay was getting Grammys.
he had one.
Exactly.
He had
And
one.
he ain't show up.
No, he has like 20 now.
Oh, Lord.
He had like 18 since he's been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
Hold on.
You're not wrong.
He was
At
one.
the same time,
After that, he got them shits. He started drinking. His pictures were like, he thinks the cup.
Aaliyah, Jaguar claimed, had refused Jay-Z, and he didn't take rejection well. He said anyone who ever told him no paid the price. None of it was random. It was all deliberate.
When he did the record with her, with him, with Jay, that's why I was that was almost like one of the things where I was just like, he's out of here, Jake. I just let it go because I couldn't believe he did a project with her, with R. Kelly, knowing that he had a girl.
Then came the insider bombshell that sent shockwaves through the industry. A producer named Jonathan Hay started speaking out about what he'd witnessed, the side of Jay-Z the public was never meant to see. Even Dame Dash, Jay-Z's former business partner and once his closest ally, couldn't take it anymore. He saw enough to walk away for good. These weren't wild rumors or tabloid gossip. These were first-hand accounts from people who had seen too much. According to Jaguar, the behavior behind the scenes was so disturbing that even those in Jay-Z's own circle wanted nothing to do with it.
You know, I've known Puff for 30 years. I haven't been to any one of his parties, especially on the LA side, you know, not even in probably 20 years. So that was the 4th of July, and that's when he was with Jennifer Lopez. He had a barbecue. You know, we were all staying in one house, me, Aaliyah, Jay, a couple of friends. That night, no one knew who Aaliyah was with, and that's how we wanted it. You know, because at the time, her and I, you know, we hadn't like actually gone there like that yet, and you know, me and Homeboy was both trying, so no one knew who was messing with who. And you know, that night we left early. I left with Aaliyah, and that's the night that the magic happened with Aaliyah and I. So that was a magical night for me.
Do you ever feel sorry for Dame Dash, man? Whenever you hear about like his financial problems and things like that.
Nah, Dame's a hustler. Dame will figure it out. Like Dame, very smart guy, you know. So he'll figure it out.
He was definitely playing your album and on Instagram.
Yeah,
like,
did you see that video?
Bittersweet.
Nah, I didn't see it.
He was in the barbershop, bobbing his head crazy to it. He said he liked it. He said he felt like he was a part of that. And he knows you're telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, what people gotta understand. I mean, nothing gonna change the way I feel about Damon. You know, no matter no time or space, no separation or anything. You know, I got love for Damon Dash the same way as I did before.
And then there was Beyonce. Jaguar claims she didn't just stay, she benefited. Every time another young woman got caught in Jay-Z's web, their empire expanded. Every cover-up made their brand stronger. Beyonce could have exposed him, Jaguar said, but instead she became his greatest shield, the silent protector of their image, even if it meant others got hurt. Jaguar went even darker, saying the choice came with consequences, dangerous ones. Controlling victims wasn't enough. Jay-Z allegedly built an empire system designed to keep them silent forever. She even told people to rewatch Rihanna's Super Bowl performance. That moment when Rihanna flashed the Rockefeller hand sign, Jaguar claimed it wasn't confidence, it was submission, a message to those who knew the truth. Then came another resurfaced clip from Rihanna herself. In an old interview, she described how her journey began. She said she first met a producer in Barbados while he was vacationing there with his wife. Her friend arranged the meeting, and Rihanna ended up signing for him in his hotel room. He was so impressed that he invited her to record in his studio, and after a year of work, they finally sent out her demo. Def Jam was the first label to respond, and they were ecstatic. Rihanna said she eventually met with Jay-Z, who was blown away by her audition, so much so that he didn't let her leave until 3 in the morning after she'd signed the deal. She remembered being so nervous she could barely stop shaking, calling it the longest 12 hours of her life.
We signed it that night. We didn't let her leave the office.
Really?
The 3 in the morning was when that contract got signed. So from the meeting around 3, 4 in the afternoon, we signed it by 3 in the morning.
Wow.
That day, I was absolutely certain.
How often does that happen? I mean, that's
not often.
That's unheard of, right?
That's not, yeah. I mean, to get lawyers to draft up contracts and then the other side to agree to contracts in 10 hours that's retarded.
No.
Jaguar pointed to that same energy on the Super Bowl stage years later. She said if you look closely, Rihanna's movements told a story. How she subtly looked towards Jay-Z's VIP box before making a single move. That wasn't admiration, Jaguar claimed. That was conditioning. That was control. And the web didn't stop there. Jaguar alleged that Jay-Z kept both Rihanna and Beyonce financially chained. They weren't his partners in power. They were his assets in his empire. Every public appearance, every statement, every move was calculated to protect his image.
I have very little time, so I need to know ahead of time, should I get a bridesmaid dress ready for your wedding with Jay-Z? Are you marrying Jay-Z?
I'm not engaged.
You're not engaged?
I'm not.
It's a big fat rumor.
It is, but do you think it's a possibility that you will be engaged?
One day I hope to be married, you know, eventually with children. I grew up with both of my parents and my sister, a big family. It's important to me, so I'd love to have a family.
Yeah, and so when will you and Jay-Z get married then?
I don't know.
Y'all seem like a great couple.
Thank you.
And he is sweet as...
And behind closed doors, both women were allegedly victims of the same darkness, trained by the industry itself to protect the very man they should have been protected from. Two of the most powerful women in the world silenced. Then came the story of Solange, and suddenly that infamous elevator fight made a lot more sense. Jaguar claimed it wasn't some random family drama. It was rebellion. Solange was the only one bold enough to try to pull Beyoncé out of Jay-Z's control. She wasn't just throwing punches. She was standing up to the system. But Jay-Z, as always, turned it around. He humiliated her publicly and quietly erased her from their inner circle. After that night, Solange, Beyoncé's confidant and safe space, faded into the background.
I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work. You know, some of you gonna go home tonight and feel like you've been robbed. Some of you may get robbed. Some of you don't belong in the category. Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
And Rihanna, she saw all of it. She watched, she learned, and soon enough, Jaguar said, those same tactics, the same manipulation would be used again, this time on someone else who got too close to the truth. The biggest twist came when Jaguar revisited Rihanna's 2009 interview with Diane Sawyer, the one that completely destroyed Chris Brown's career. Looking back now, she says the whole thing feels different. Every line sounded perfectly rehearsed, from "I'm strong" to "this happened to me. I didn't cause it." The timing was just too convenient, airing right when Chris was trying to rebuild his image. One interview and suddenly his career flatlined. Jaguar insists that wasn't raw emotion, it was a performance. A carefully planned move that reframed him not just as a perpetrator, but as a symbol of danger, strategic, surgical.
Oh, you can look at my phone. So I gave her the phone. She looks at the phone and there's a message and it says, kill the Grammys, do your thing. And I didn't read the rest of the message, I didn't open it. So she opened the message and the rest of the message said, I'll see you at the cloud party. So all thought she thought I was lying. She starts going off, she throws the phone, I hate you, whatever. Starts hitting me, we're in a little Lamborghini. You know, she's fighting me and I'm like, look, I'm telling you the truth, I swear to God. You know, I'm telling you the truth, stop it. So then she hits me a couple more times and I just kind of it doesn't go from translation to let's sit down, I'm telling you the truth. It goes to now I'm finna be mean and be evil, arguing. So then like I remember she tried to kick me. It's like just her just being upset. But then I really hit her, like I with a closed fist, like I punched her. You know, and it busted her lip. And when I saw it, I was in shock. I was like, I hit her like.
And when you start lining that interview up with everything Jaguar's revealed, the manipulation, the control, the grooming, it all starts to look less like a survivor speech and more like a carefully written script. Not long after, Rihanna was removed from her original team, the same group behind Pon de Replay, and replaced with a new circle of handlers. She was kept in Los Angeles, shielded yet constantly pushed into adult party scenes, 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room like a grown woman.
In the beginning of my career, I remember Pon de Replay started doing really well, and he came up to me at a showcase and he said, "You must be a really great person because great things keep happening for you. Don't ever change who you are. Always remain humble, the same." And it kind of rings in my ear. Like every day I hear that, and it stuck with me, and I have a lot to be grateful for.
That you attend numerous industry events together, and so when you are at those events, I have reduced the stay-away distance to 10 yards.
One insider even claimed that people around her knew she wasn't of age. He said his friend discovered she was only 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And when he confronted the team, they brushed it off saying, "It's cool." The industry later tried to cover the story, calling it a misunderstanding. They even claimed they made it up just to give her single a boost. But Jaguar said the truth didn't stop there, because soon one of Jay-Z's close industry contacts, Jonathan Hay, allegedly became a target. According to Jaguar, Hay had been promised a deal at Tidal, but that never happened. Instead, not long after he started digging into another scandal involving Drake, he became the victim of a terrifying home invasion. He and his daughter were duct taped and beaten inside their own house. Jaguar said the attack was no coincidence. She believes it was a warning, a message to anyone getting too close to the truth. That's when she asked the question everyone else was too scared to say out loud. Who really taught Rihanna how to play the perfect victim, while hiding the real perpetrator pulling the strings behind her? But Jaguar didn't stop there. She laid out what she called Jay-Z's elimination machine. According to her, anyone who knew too much or tried to walk away ended up silenced. DeHaven, gone. Dame Dash, destroyed. Aaliyah, who rejected him, lifeless in a plane crash. Kathy White, allegedly pregnant with his child, suddenly gone after a mysterious aneurysm. Jaguar said it's always the same pattern: isolate, discredit, eliminate. And in her eyes, Chris Brown was just another casualty of that same machine.
I was hurt the most. Nobody felt what I felt.
I feel like I'm not ever trying to put my hands on any female.
He made that mistake because he needed help, and like, who's gonna help him?
She looks at the phone and there's a message and it says, "I'll see you at the cloud party." Off that, she thought I was blind.
So angry at him.
I'm telling you the truth, I swear to God.
And it has not been easy.
I got punched, and it busted her lip. And when I saw it, I was in shock. I hit her like, I didn't know, I promise. Like me, I felt like
it happened to me in front of the world. It was embarrassing, it was humiliating, it was hurtful.
I love her. I don't want to hurt my girlfriend.
I truly love him. So the main thing for me is that he is at peace.
She claimed that insiders, whistleblowers, and even victims have quietly been sending her proof, too scared to go public, but desperate for the truth to be known. And then came the connection that left the internet stunned: the Kathy White theory. Jaguar said even Beyoncé's song Daughter might be a veiled confession about Kathy, Jay-Z's alleged mistress, who disappeared after getting pregnant. Fans had long noticed the strange pregnancy timelines, the viral deflating belly clip, and lyrics that suddenly seemed to carry darker meanings. Kathy's demise, Jaguar said, wasn't just a race to protect Jay-Z. Beyoncé allegedly helped cover it up. At this point, Jaguar's story stopped being about one man's power and turned into something much bigger, a machine built to protect power itself. She claimed Rihanna's final transformation completed that cycle, from vulnerable teenager to accomplice, from survivor to ammunition. Rihanna had learned Jay-Z's methods so well, Jaguar said, that she became his perfect tool, used to take down anyone who dared threaten the empire. According to Jaguar, Chris Brown wasn't the only one targeted. He was just the one the world got to see. She claimed these powerful figures create victims, then train them to become soldiers in their system. It's a brutal, well-oiled cycle, polished on the surface but terrifying underneath. And then came the moment that sent chills through everyone listening: Rihanna's Grammy speech. Jaguar reminded people of Rihanna's words before that night, when she said she'd promised her dad she'd give him her first Grammy. But we might have to fight for this one. Then during the show came the moment the world thought was heartfelt. Rihanna stood on stage and thanked Jay-Z for being part of the record, her team, her family, and even Barbados, proudly saying, "We got one." But Jaguar said if you look closer, it wasn't a simple thank you speech. It was a coded nod to the empire that had kept her untouchable. That's where Jaguar's main question hits hard. When celebrities wrap themselves in activism and victimhood, are they really survivors, or are they part of the final layer of the cover-up? Because once that story is set in stone, it becomes a shield. Rihanna's victim image didn't just protect her, it protected the entire system. Every headline, every magazine cover, every emotional interview wasn't about truth or healing, it was about controlling the narrative. And the moment anyone dared to question that story, boom, they became the villain. That's how Jay-Z's empire kept thriving. He didn't just control the women, he controlled the entire conversation. Rihanna became untouchable. Insiders knew the rule: if you whisper a different version of events, your career is done. You'd be blacklisted, threatened, erased. The silence wasn't just fear, it was policy. Jaguar claimed that silence was their biggest ammunition, and loyalty was the currency. While others disappeared into obscurity, Rihanna's power only grew. Billion-dollar brands, fashion empires, global influence so bright no one dared to look at the shadows behind it. And Beyoncé? She perfected the quiet game. She didn't need to speak. Her silence spoke volumes. That, Jaguar said, is how the machine operates. Some become ammunition, others become shields. Together, they build a fortress too powerful for the truth to ever break through. Meanwhile, the people who were there, the assistants, the early team members, the background voices, they learned quickly what happens when you try to tell the truth. Calls stop, jobs vanish, stories fade. In the end, Jaguar said this isn't just one scandal. It's the blueprint of power in the entertainment world. A system built not just on fame and money, but on silence, fear, and perfectly shaped victims who become the bodyguards of the very truth they're hiding. Then came the clip that started it all, Rihanna's old interview. Her voice cracked as she said that she was strong, that what happened to her could happen to anyone, and that being exposed like that was humiliating. She admitted she didn't want people to think she loved someone capable of that kind of hurt, that it was embarrassing. And in that same breath, she confessed to being human, not perfect, just someone trying to survive. She talked about how people put her on a pedestal she never asked for, how it was natural to lie to yourself, to want the pain to disappear, to rewrite the story so it hurts a little less. And as Jaguar keeps talking, people are finally listening. The whispers are growing louder. The cracks in the story are starting to show. But what do you think about all this? Is Rihanna just a victim of the ripple effect of the industry's dark secrets? Be sure to leave a comment and get into the conversation. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications, because the next spill might expose even more than you're ready for.